I know what you clicked on this video for. And yeah, we're gonna be reviewing to an extent and ranking every single Kingdom Rush Origins tower from worst to best. My previous rankings have all gained like 200 views, which is quite a lot for me, because I'm a small YouTuber. So please subscribe. This video took me a long time to make, including the planning. No, my audio did not glitch. I just ran out of things to say because I have to plan my times now. Number 8, the High Elven Mage.
Clear your mind.
I could literally rant on for hours about why the High Elven Mage is the worst. But I'm gonna stick to the important parts and only say its major flaws. Its first major flaw is magic resistance. There are so many enemies with magic resistance in Origins, especially in Veteran and Impossible mode. And these magic resistance aren't just like 1%, they're actually pretty high. The High Elven Mage has absolutely no counter to this. I mean, even the Wild Mages had a counter, and that was its insta-kill. The High Elven Mage's closest thing to a counter is Gem of Time Warp, or whatever it was called. And that cures enemies of all other effects. So I'd still count it as a downside because there are more negative effects than positive effects to enemies. Now let's talk about its abilities. First, it has time lapse, which in my opinion is really bad. As I've said before, there are way more negative effects to enemies than positive effects to enemies. And the High Elven Mage's time lapse, when used on an enemy, will cure it of all other effects. This is the only downside to it though, but it's definitely worse than Arcane Sentinel. Surprisingly, for being this low on the list, Arcane Sentinel actually has pretty good DPS. With a maximum of 64 DPS, it can do pretty high damage. That is assuming that it's actually attacking. It only attacks for 5 seconds, then it has to go back and charge for 4 seconds. So in total, the cycle takes 10 seconds, meaning that its actual maximum DPS is only 32. Anyways, enough about the abilities, or this video is going to be like an hour long. Let's talk about its other flaws. First, its attack speed is so goddamn slow. Like, I'm trying to use the tower, I build it, and then it just misses half its shots. Only reason I get it is probably to use Arcane Sentinel, because everything else it has sucks. Its last major flaw isn't even that major compared to the other two. It's the way that it divides the damage. Now, you could say it prevents overkill by doing this, but it only prevents overkill in the last hit. If you want to split your damage, do it in an ability, because otherwise all you're doing is just like doing less than your actual listed damage. This is very annoying. Number 7, Arc Druid Henge.
Into the wild.
Arc Druid Henge is barely better than High Elven Mage. It says it's average attack speed, but that's in theory, and it's how it's coded. But in practice, it's actually got pretty slow attack speed, or pretty average for a druid. But that's really slow. But it's by far its worst function is Sylvan Curse, because if you use the tower effectively, it's going to be killing every enemy it damages, which means that there is no chance to actually use Sylvan Curse effectively. So if you want to make use of Sylvan Curse, you can't make use of the rest of the tower. You have to pick which one you want more, and this is kind of dumb. I will only ever get Ruined Bears if I have no more money or no more strategic points around it, because Ruined Bears cost the same as level 4 barracks or level 3 barracks, and yet they are way less effective. The Arc Druid Henge's damage is also pretty mid. Yeah, I think that's all. Number 5, Golden Longbow.
Shoot the thrill, ready to kill.
Despite a lot of people in the community saying this tower is bad, I completely disagree. It's more like a tribal axe throw. It's more situational than bad, even though it's good in almost all situations. is just outclassed by the Arcane Archers. I remember when I first started playing this game, I thought they were better than the Arcane Archers. But back then I also thought Gruul was the best hero and Ulrich sucked. So, yeah, don't quote me on that. It's got the longest range of any tower in the series, and also some of the highest physical damage. It's got an insta-kill, and it's got Hunter's Mark, which makes an enemy take 2 times damage for a short duration. Well, this duration is long enough that you can effectively use it in almost everything, and it will be great. Yeah, other than Arc Druid Hedge and High Elven Mage, every other tower in Origin is pretty goated. Number 5, Arcane Archers. Right, don't get me wrong, Arcane Archers aren't bad. They're just outclassed by every other tower above them on this list. I mean, they've got Slumber Arrow, which is kind of mid. I mean, it's a free stun, but, like, it's completely outclassed by Burst Arrows. Sure, it does magic damage, and a lot of enemies have magic resistance, as I mentioned before, but that's only part of it. It does splash magic damage, which is more likely to hit at least 1 or 2 enemies who don't have magic resistance. And if you've never watched Kingdom Rush Science, you wouldn't understand this, but its sprite actually deals both the physical damage of the normal arrow and the magic damage of the burst arrow. This kind of negates it. I don't think so though. This game, Origins, is very unique in the way that it makes me keep level 3 archers instead of upgrading to level 4. Because in all previous games, there's been a high damage archer and a fast firing archer. But in this game, there's the Arcane Archers, which have good abilities, and the Golden Longbows, which have high damage. But there's no actual fast firing archer like the Crossbow Fort or Rangers. I said that just to extend time. Number 4, Weirdwood.
The forest awakened.
Same thing with Arcane Archers. Weirdwood is just outclassed, because this game's not really built for druids, but Weirdwood is an exception to that. I mean, its base attack is pretty mid, but Clobber is extremely overpowered. Fiery Nut is great, and it's got extremely high damage. The only reason I think this can be Arcane Archers, though, is because of Clobber. It's actually so good because of its massive AoE effect. It's so good they had to nerf it and not make it so that it would increase to the range of the tower. Number 3, Bladesinger Hall. These guys are one of the tankiest barracks in the series. On top of that, they have perfect parry, which gives them insane survivability. On top of that, they have Blade Dance, which actually gives them good crowd control ability as well. And on top of that, they have Age Mastery, which gives them great damage as well as everything else that they already had. What more could you want in barracks? The only downside to them though is they don't have a ranged attack like every other barracks except level 1 barracks. So I guess that's a downside, but when I buy barracks I buy them for stalling, and these guys accomplish that perfectly. What more could you want? Also, why don't we just call them Blade Dancers instead of Blade Singers? Because they literally have an ability called Blade Dance, but they don't have an ability called Blade Sing. Number 2, Forest Keepers.
Nature is calling.
There's a debate going on whether the Forest Keepers or Blade Singers are better. I am strongly on the Forest Keepers side. They have everything in barracks. Not only are they insanely tanky with their 300 health and armor, despite it being low, they also have a ranged attack, which isn't just a ranged attack. With Ancient Oak Spear, they can deal up to 160 true damage per attack. Then they have their Barbed Vines, slowing enemies down and damaging them. This also gives them really good stalling. On top of that, they have Circle of Life, which is extremely well utilized when combined with Blade Singers. What the frick did I just say? I'm keeping it in the video. I don't want to edit that. Anyways, when combined with Blade Singers, Forest of Life can keep the Blade Singers alive for so long that it's practically an insta-storm. Their health and armor shouldn't actually be used until last resort, but it's nice to know that this is one of the games where I surprisingly support stacking barracks. I strongly didn't support it in the first game. If you missed that, go watch the review. This is one of the main reasons why DJ's point of only having 2 blockers is irrelevant, because the blockers aren't blocking. The blockers are should be seen as mages or something. Fun fact, they have one of the highest DPSs in the game. It's number 1, surprisingly, the Wild Mages. Nah, but it's crazy. Even I'm surprised that the Wild Mages made it this high. When I started this list, I only wanted to convey a few things. That the Forest Keepers were better than the Blade Singers, but not first. The Blade Singers were third, meaning the Forest Keepers had to be second. I wanted to say that the Wild Mages was the best non-barracks tower. The Weirdwood was the best non-barracks, non-Wild Mages tower. But the Wild Mages was the best non-barracks tower doesn't mean they're worse than the barracks, right? So I guess they're above now by process of elimination. Also wanted to say that the Arcane Archers are better than the Golden Longbows, which leads you to what we have now. This is actually a very surprising thing for me to say, but let me talk about its abilities. First of all, it has a counter to the magic resistance, which is its insta-kill, but its insta-kill also does area damage, which is great. Next, it has Ward of Silencing, or whatever it was called, that silences magic effects. It's that simple. And it fires extremely fast. Though it doesn't kill anything a lot of the time, it builds up damage over time, meaning that it can deal a lot of damage despite not outright killing the enemies. While some might say this is worse, I kind of disagree. Anyways, yeah, I have nothing else to talk about because I don't want to start yapping about random stuff. As I said, when I started this list, I only wanted to convey a few messages, and I'm not listing them again. Origins tower ranking is very divisive among the community. I mean, definitely more than Frontiers or the first game. Especially in the first game, everyone agrees either Tesla or Sorcerer is the best tower. But in this game, there's a huge debate. No one agrees on a definitive best tower. Some say it's the Arcane Archer, some say it's the Weirdwood, some say it's the Arc Druids, some say it's the High Elven Mage for some reason. Some say it's the Wild Mages, like me. Some say it's the Forest Keepers. No one says it's the Blade Singers.
Let's
it's the
start
one
a fire!
singular tower they leave out. Anyways, if you subscribe to this channel, you will literally start flying. Like, no joke, bro. You'll literally start flying. Nah, but guys, like, seriously, subscribe. This video took me like months to make, and I had to plan now. You got good quality content now. Yeah, also click on one of these videos on screen. Dude, why haven't you clicked?